Welcome to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be installing this nice and beautiful 12-inch Tesla screen in our 370Z. Let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, my name is Matt. This is our 2012 Nissan 370Z that we picked up wrecked at auction. Since then, we have been repairing it, rebuilding it, and doing some tasteful modifications along the way. So if this is something that you're interested in, make sure to comment down below, drop a like, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more. One of the biggest pieces of any driving experience, I feel, is sound, right? We want sound. And in today's day and age, GPSs, that's a massive thing, whether you're using Waze, Google Maps, Apple Maps, whatever you want to use. Those are just essential driving pieces for those who travel a lot or commute for work, whatever the case may be. So with this new unit, we're going to have maps. We're also going to add a backup camera because, let's be honest, backup camera in today's generation, what is a rear view mirror? So we're going to add those things to the car, and we're really going to transform the interior with this one simple upgrade. So currently, this is I believe a base 370Z. So we have a 6-disc CD changer. We have this little cubby hole up here that for me is pretty useless. So we're actually going to get rid of all of this and make it useful space by utilizing the new Tesla screen. I think it'll really complement some of the other things we've done in the interior, such as the steering wheel start-stop button or push-to-start button, along with the gear shift. I think that's really going to pull a lot of these things together. If you haven't seen that video, make sure to check it out. We just posted it not too long ago. It really just shows what a few simple upgrades can do to the interior. But let's continue to get into the screen. And here is our new screen. And then our backup camera as well. So we'll go ahead and unbox these, get first impressions, and just see what we are doing with and how complicated this install truly is. As we start unboxing, we're going to start with the backup camera. And as you can see, we have in our instructions a gasket that goes on the back of the camera to create a nice sealed fit. The camera itself also offers night vision, which is a nice feature for those backing up at night. We also have the harness that goes from the back of the unit to the camera, along with the power cord for the camera. I'll be sure to link these down below, so if you want to check out this or the head unit, be sure to drop down below and click on the link. We also have the instructions for the head unit, nice colored and detailed instructions. I love to see this in these kits, very nice. Hats off to the manufacturer. We have the harnesses. We also have the bezel for the AC units if you have the manual model. And finally, we have the beautiful Tesla display, and in all reality, it's just a display, but we do call it the Tesla display. Great looking unit. We will not be using these controls. I believe they're for the models if you have navigation. We do not. We have the manual controls, so we will not be using that. But overall, it is a fantastic looking unit. And again, I'll drop the link down in the description below if you're interested. Definitely go check it out and snag one for your car as well. They also carry different models. And then on the back of the unit, we do have the model number and everything if you're interested. Okay, so after unpacking that, I am so stoked to get this thing in the car. I definitely still stand where I was at before. This is going to absolutely transform the driving experience and just the overall styling of the interior. But I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and start with the backup camera so we can get those wires ran to the front and plug those in as we're installing that new unit. So let's jump into that first. So let's jump into the screen now. Not actually jump into the screen, but like installing the screen. The first thing we're going to do, like you should do with any head unit install, is disconnect the battery. We'll then move over to disconnecting the shift knob along with the shifter trim bezel. We then have a few Phillips screws to help get those kick plates off. And then the cubby hole trim piece, that just snaps off. You can see I did struggle with the push to start button. Didn't have a light. That helped a lot. But then we moved over to removing the Phillips screws that actually hold the head unit in. Once you undid those, you were just able to unclip the connectors from the back of the unit, and everything popped right out. The radio is officially out. It was pretty easy. The AC box is here on the bottom, but we have that out now, and now we can go ahead and assess our wiring since we know exactly what we're dealing with and line it up to the charts that were supplied with the head unit, and we can start assembling the new unit. Just going off the instructions, it looks like the next thing that it's asking us to do is remove the air conditioner box, since we are going to retain that, and then start working on that center bezel, removing the vents and that little cubby so that we can install the unit into that bezel. Then at that point, in which we'll move on to the wiring. We are first going to start by removing the AC box. There are only 2 Phillips screws that hold this in. We will then also need to remove the 8 Phillips screws that connect the side brackets to the unit itself. Our goal here is to retain these factory AC control knobs, and there are several bolts that hold those knobs onto that front bezel, so I believe there's 5 of them. We'll take those off and see if that's the only things that we're going to need to remove in order to pull those knobs off of that front faceplate. Unfortunately, you are going to need to remove the 8 bolts on the side brackets before you can pull the AC knobs out. However, when looking at these bolts on the side brackets, they appear to be some type of Allen bolt or some type of security screw. So we will most likely have a bit for that. We'll have to dig it out of the good old toolbox, but we'll get that taken care of and get those side brackets off, and then everything should come apart easily. I decided to only take one of the brackets off of this simply because I only needed the controls. We do not need the brackets for this new unit, so I just took off one, got my knobs, got out of there, and found out that the T20 Torx bit was the key to getting that bracket off though, so just keep that for future reference. As part of the assembly process, there is one other thing we need to disassemble. We will need to remove these vents. That will then allow us to take this center cubby out and mount the screen. To do so, it looks like there are just a few Allen head bolts in the back here, so we'll remove those and finish up the last of the disassembly process. When removing the vents, it is important to note that there are tabs that are holding those vents in, so you will need to push those tabs back and be kind of aggressive when removing the vents in order to get those out. As we begin installing the new screen, there's a couple things to note. At the very top of this bezel, there are 2 dowels, and there are also channels along the screen and that trim piece that locks everything into place. Like we mentioned in the earlier part of the video, we will need to remove those AC controls that came with the unit in exchange for our manual AC controls. And this is the part where those instructions that I talked about at the very beginning, those beautifully detailed colored instructions, this is where those come into play. One of the things that this manufacturer does that you just do not see that often is they have the pictures of the back of the units, the various back of the units that are offered in different models on here, and all you have to do is match up the back of your head unit to the picture on the instructions, and it'll tell you exactly which harnesses you need and makes everything plug and play. Honestly, hats off to them. We now have all of the wires in the back of the unit. There are several things we'll need to hook up in the car, which includes the input for the backup camera, along with the signal wire to trigger the backup camera. We'll also need to ground this unit, which thankfully with the Nissan, there are a couple places in the back to ground it properly. Went ahead and hooked the amp wire up. It connects on these 2 harnesses. I do know that my particular model does have an amp, and then it looks like we only have 2 connectors that plug into the factory harness aside from the AC controls. So let's jump into the car. There are several things we need to do there because we're adding the backup camera, and we also need to add in the AC box as well. But before we put the head unit in, we need to make sure that we add the AC box and hook that up. I'm just going to set it behind the unit. That seems to be what everybody does. As mentioned in the beginning of the video, we are adding a backup camera, so we will need to run this harness from the back of the head unit to the back of the car. But in the meantime, because I really want to get the unit done first, we're going to go ahead and fish the wire up to the back of the head unit, plug it in, and then as we start installing the backup camera, we can then dress the wire in and get it to the back of the car. I went ahead and started by fishing the wire up through the back. I used the light to shine from the back. You can see it peeking through the plastic. And then I shoved some steel fish tape down through the hole to grab onto our backup camera harness and pulled it straight through to the front. I also used this time to find the connectors from the factory harness that the head unit called out that would connect to the back of our new unit. I spent a lot of time going back and forth with this, trying to figure out where to connect the ground and where I was going to shove wires. I'm not going to lie to any of you, that sucked putting that thing in. There are a lot of wires, a lot of short wires at that, and now that you can't take sections off and it's all one piece, it was just a monstrosity trying to get those short wires to reach between the passenger airbag and the start stop. That was just difficult, but we're gonna go ahead. I have it just laying in there right now. We're gonna go ahead and hook up the battery and test it out, make sure it works before we start dressing things back up. Battery's hooked up, first start. Startup time, a little slower than I'd like, but honestly, this is worth it. I don't know anything about Android, so this is going to be a bit of a learning curve, but I don't mind it. Okay, it's very reactive. I like that. It's very smooth, very reactive. I really like that part of it. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and button up the interior now that I know that the head unit works before we move on to the backup camera. This new head unit honestly just completely transforms the interior. It gives that much more modern feel that honestly the 370 deserves. So if you like the way it looks and if this is something you're interested in, definitely check out the link in the description box below. But we're going to go ahead and get that wire ran around from the back of the head unit. We'll go underneath the trim leading to the back of the car so we can get the backup camera hooked in. We'll first get started by removing this trim piece on the passenger side along with the kick panel so that we can route the wire down through the channel to the back of the car. After that, we will move on to the hatch area where we have to start disassembling everything in the hatch compartment. So all of the plastics, the carpet, all of those things will need to come out so that we can route that harness down below everything and get that to the back bumper. With all of the plastics removed, we can now turn our attention to the actual camera itself. We'll need to first start by removing the light and putting that in the new camera, along with adding that gasket that was included with the camera. And finally, I had to use a tester light to find the reverse light wire. For this particular 370, it ended up being the brown wire, so we simply spliced into that for power for our camera. Hey, it worked. Looks really good too. I'm really happy with that. And as soon as I pop it out of reverse, it goes back to the home screen. So love that. All right, guys, and that is a wrap for this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to hit like, drop a comment down below, and also be sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. We have a lot more planned for the 370Z. We'll throw in some Tacoma videos as well, and you never know what other projects might pop up in the future. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.